The gospel text of today is made up of only 2 verses. Mark chapter 3, verses 20 and 21. And it tells us 3 things about the ministry of Jesus. First, it says that Jesus was so busy in the ministry that he did not have time even to eat. And then it goes on to say that those who encountered him, or some of those who encountered him, thought that he was out of his mind. And the third is they went and told his family that he had gone mad. And so the question is, what does this text mean for us today? The first thing it means is this, that Jesus was so focused on his ministry that his food and his drink was to do what God had sent him to do. Food would sustain him externally, but what sustained him in the deepest sense of the word was making people whole. And these people whom Jesus made whole were not the rich alone, were not the righteous alone, but mainly the poor and mainly sinners. According to every single tradition, the Messiah who would come was expected to separate the wheat from the chaff, where the wheat referred to the righteous person and the chaff referred to the sinner. Jesus came and was separating no one from nothing. As a matter of fact, Jesus was embracing everyone who wanted to come into his embrace. And primarily, he was embracing the sinners, those whom people considered outcasts, those whom people considered as damned. When people saw this, when they experienced this, they could not understand how Jesus could be the Messiah. The Messiah would have focused on the righteous and not sinners, and here Jesus was focusing on those who were marginalized, those who were left out, those whom no one wanted to accept in society. What other explanation could there be that if he was not the Messiah, surely he was out of his mind? And that is why those who encountered him would think this of Jesus. And there is something in our lives that we cannot understand, or when there is something which doesn't fit into our way of thinking, we tend to label it negatively. What is required is openness, because God reveals God in a variety of ways. You and I must open our eyes, our ears, our minds, and our hearts to encounter this God. This God comes primarily in the poor. This God comes primarily in the marginalized. And when we encounter God in the poor and in the marginalized, like Jesus did, then we communicate God to them. How will you communicate God to at least one poor person today?